everybody, and welcome to a new show here we're going to be doing. It's the Fat Irish Nerd Podcast presents The Shelf. It's going to be, well, we haven't really discussed a time frame on when this is all going to come out, but it's going to be a comic book review show or trade review show. We're going to take turns probably picking books of what to read and everything, and then we'll discuss and give our review, possibly a rating. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. We're just gonna relive some stuff that's already been finished. We're not gonna do like stuff that's currently ongoing.
No. Mainly it's the iconic storylines that we hold dear, that are exemplary to comics in general. What has given comics a good view in everybody's eyes, not just stupid kids things, but
right. Yeah. I mean, eventually we'll get to some of the newer stuff, but as they finish, like I know right now I haven't read the first issue yet, but Boots has, of Last Night on Earth. It's something that's really intrigued him, and I'm intrigued as well. So once that wraps up, we'll probably review that on here. But to start things off, we're going big, we're going iconic, we're going Kingdom Come.
So Kingdom Come is the story of the Justice League 10 years in the future. Superman has left. He's gone into seclusion, and with that void, the world has sort of fallen into chaos. Wonder Woman has left. All the Justice League has sort of gone and done their own things. And these new superhuman beings that have the superpowers don't have any guidance. With no guidance or nothing to do, they just fight amongst themselves. They squabble. But these squabbles with their superpowers do have conflicts with normal people's safety. Buildings being demolished. They don't care. It's not their responsibility. So as you can see, this is the story of all the chaos and Superman and the rest of the Justice League trying to rein it in. And then the rest of the story is Armageddon, if you will.
So thanks for the synopsis there. That was great. We don't want to get too specific, spoilerific on this. We want to just make some broad strokes so that just in case you haven't read it and you want to read it later, we won't give any of the big stuff away, plot twists and whatnot, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if we lead you to end up reading this book, which you wouldn't have before, then that's awesome. Or if it leads you to reread the book, if you've already read it once, hadn't read it in years, and like, oh, I forgot about it, read it again, great. We forgot to mention at the top that Kingdom Come is written by Mark Waid, and the artwork is done by the legendary, magnificent Alex Ross.
Oh yeah.
What would you say is it that makes Alex Ross so iconic when it comes to artwork?
Well, I think it's the realism that he brings to it. Like he doesn't make the superheroes look like superheroes per se. He makes them look like what you would actually see. It's his version of, let's say, a cinematic universe.
Right.
The process in which that he goes to get his paintings done is he goes off of photographs.
Right.
There's a snippet in the back here where it's got a picture of someone dressed as Orion.
Okay.
And it's verbatim, well, not verbatim, but it's exactly what he's got painted.
Oh, okay.
So that's
nice.
It's excellent.
I never knew that. I never knew that he did that. But some of the great things about this book is all the different cameos and Easter eggs that they put into this book. Like there's just so many different characters thrown into this because you've got all the past superheroes, and then you got all these new superheroes, and then they just throw in some smatterings in the background
of of media and pop culture,
Mm-hmm.
and the Easter eggs in here. There's thousands of Easter eggs. There's everything from comic book covers from this world that are in here. There's movie references and TV references and even news headlines from 92 is the main one I can think of.
Oh yeah.
It's just in an entirety it's a work of art.
Yeah.
Would we just say it won five Eisner and Harvey Awards?
Yeah, 5 Eisner and Harvey Awards. Yep.
And that's no small feat.
No. I mean, just to get one Eisner Award is just insane. And it's also an Elseworld book. We didn't cover that earlier, too. This is post-Crisis on Infinite Earths, where they shrunk the multiverse down into one universe. But they still wanted to do stories outside continuity, so they dubbed all the books as Elseworld books. Had a cool logo in the corner, Elseworlds in a circle, and then like a nice little star comet looking.
Didn't they use the Elseworlds logo for the crossover for?
Yep, it was just in the crossover for it. Well, it was called Elseworlds.
Okay.
The crossover was
Flash
last year for the CW.
Supergirl.
So it's basically, if you watch that, it's that logo. Or if you're familiar with some of the Elseworld books. But they've gone back to the multiverse and taken the multiverse away, I don't know how many times since then.
Yeah. It's basically the current DC Black Label, where it's sort of the Twilight Zone stories of the classic stories that what would happen if this.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, the Black Label's kind of morphed into now with Vertigo being gone. A lot of the Vertigo books are going to Black Label. But back to Kingdom Come. It's cool. Like they have when they cut to showing Superman. This is one of my favorite parts. When you haven't seen him, he's on the farm, whatever he's working, and he's scruffed, which you never really ever see Superman with scruff. And Superman's got a ponytail. I mean that was a cool looking version of Superman that you wouldn't expect, because Superman's always clean cut, clean shaven,
with the spit curl
and the spit curl. Which they even mentioned something in here with with all the mess that's going on between the infighting with the old superheroes and new superheroes, like the UN is talking at one point about dropping nukes on them. Or no, it was Oliver Queen that said it. He's like, why don't we just drop a nuke on Blue Guy, which they refer to Superman as. Why don't we drop it on Blue Guy's spit curl?
Yeah.
I thought that was a funny...
They said a K-bomb.
Yeah, K-bomb. Oh, that's what it was, a K-bomb. Yeah, not a nuke.
Yep.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah. Which, some of the twists and stuff in there that happened too, like unlikely alliances that formed, which we don't want to give anything away. Read the book, but it was pretty interesting with some of the stuff they did. What are some of your favorite homages or art or representations of forms of different characters that they had in this book?
Well, I'd have to say the what Batman was doing when he went off and did his own thing.
Okay, yeah.
And especially after what happened to him, do we want to? Okay, so Bane and Two-Face found out Bruce's identity and broke into the mansion and annihilated the Batcave. So once his identity was out, he basically didn't have anything holding him back. So he created Batbots to safeguard the city. So he's got a complete city state going on where anything that happens remotely is jumped on real quick by these bat robots, and I thought that was great. He's ultimately got what he's always been fighting for, is a clean city, so to speak.
Right, and he said something because he was talking to Superman in that set of panels, and he says to Superman, he's like, you always claim that Metropolis was a safe haven. Well, now look at Metropolis now, and look what I have. You know, and he's like, what, a police state? But he's like, still, it's like I got this stuff on lockdown, basically.
Yeah.
And old Batman, like he can still move around, but with help.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's an homage there too. The Vader collar with the 2 points coming out, just without the mask on. That was awesome.
And then later, he's got a white outfit that's got sort of the chest piece
as like down by his belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool too. Yeah, just some of the, just like even the cameos. Like, isn't there in one panel you've got Sherlock Holmes, Swamp Thing,
the Shadow,
and the Question, all in one panel, just sitting there. And in the credits, they're listed as the Trench Coat Brigade, and they all got like the fedora and the trench coat on. And I thought that was cool. I didn't even catch that. I was just trying to catch up on rereading it. That I completely passed by some of the Easter eggs, and he had pointed some of those out, and I was like, oh wow.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing about this too. Like, you could probably read this book 6 times and not catch all the cameos and Easter eggs.
I think I've read it about 6 times.
Unless you go back, unless you get a book like I got that breaks down a lot of the cameos in each panel on what page and everything.
Yeah, and I will say that it's not just the art that makes it such an amazing piece. It's the storyline, because it's as we were saying, it's got this narrative that is removed from what is happening. It's told from the point of view of Norman McKay, who's a preacher. He's a father, who is watching everything happen, and ultimately it's up to him to decide what happens. So it's cool. It's very much a sort of a It's a Wonderful Life, or another great Christmas story, The Christmas Carol. Where it's
Visited by 3, which it has the Spectre. Way that he's with the whole time, and he's just asking questions, and the Spectre's like, I'm just here. You're guiding me. I'm just here basically to take you from place to place, type thing. Which is cool. Like, it has everybody, like, in the story, and even the Spectre, which is a character that I don't think that. Of course, I haven't read a whole lot of DC, but you really don't.
Primarily an older.
Yeah, but he's a cool character.
Yeah,
I think he could be used a lot more in certain situations than it would be.
Like, I think this was my first real introduction to Deadman.
Yeah,
Boston Brand shows up in this.
That was cool.
It's totally.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Norm McKay asks him. He goes, "So would you consider the Spectre an angel?" And he goes, "Oh yeah. Yeah, totally."
Of death.
Of death, yes.
Yeah.
But,
Yep.
Yeah, and there's even, well, that's a cool point. I won't spoil.
No, there's
that.
a good part.
Yeah. But
you're gonna have to read it for yourself.
You're gonna have to read the book. Like, I want to spoil this so bad. I mean, this book has been out for 23 years. So I mean, chances are you have read it if you're watching this. But just in case you haven't, we won't ruin it for you.
No.
As much as I would really like to just go, and then this part.
Yeah.
Because
I think it's definitely something that should be in every library.
For sure.
For kids to read. It's not just kids, but, adults that want to pick something up too.
Yeah, for sure.
But, going back, you definitely, this is something that would definitely help kids sort of learn a little bit, or to give them a better path, if need be. Definitely something that's got a good morale to it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, I think we've reviewed this enough. I think we're gonna do the rating system what for this show? What should our rating system be? What would you say?
Well,
Like, should on a scale of 1 to 5 of what?
1 to 5 of what?
Yeah.
Of I don't know. I was thinking like a grading scale, like in school.
Oh, grading scale?
Like
a letter grade?
I give it an A+.
You give it an A+. Okay. All right, we'll go letter grades. That sounds good. We didn't really discuss this part. I'm throwing this on them right now. Okay, so you give it an A+.
Mm.
Yeah, I'd give it a solid A. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Like, I can't give it an A+. Like,
Okay.
it's good.
Yeah. What's your
The-
what's holding your back?
It's to me, like, it's good, but it's very exposition. Just just word. Not that wordy's bad,
Mm-hmm.
but when I read a comic book, I like to be a little bit more action in it than what this has.
This has got
It's got a lot in it.
iconic action.
No, it does, but it just seems like it's all saved for the end, almost.
Well, it's building toward it.
No, and
That's what makes it.
That's what makes it so good.
Yeah.
Like, I get that, but to me, I don't know. It just parts of it was just kind of not really long-winded, but it's just I get they had me from point to end, but I'm a little bit more. A couple battles here and there, maybe nothing huge, would have pushed it up to an A+ for me. Not that me giving it an A knocks this down at all. That's a personal preference for me.
And what is a sort of a con for you? That's what makes it amazing for me.
Right.
Is because there's not a whole lot.
Right.
Like, it's not a story about good versus evil per se.
No,
It's about guidance. It's about doing what's right.
Mm-hmm.
They're not bad. They're just not directed.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to act.
Right, yeah, exactly. They just were left to their own
devices, and they just
Yeah.
cause chaos and destruction. And that's what I appreciated. Of all the comic books or graphic novels, trade paperbacks, this is the closest thing to a novel
right.
as you can get, because it is the relationships between everybody, the dialogue is so polished.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so unlike anything that's come before. You have to realize that this came out in 96. That's before all the movies we've gotten. Like, the closest thing that came out near this was Batman Forever, and that was 95.
Yeah.
So you got to figure he's starting.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the one thing that we discussed was the battle on the Statue of Liberty.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And that's so poignant 23 years ago
later.
today, So
Yeah.
that's what I super
and
appreciate.
I can
about it.
appreciate that too.
Yeah.
Now, if this was, and this is probably the only graphic novel that I've read that you could just take this straight from the book and do it panel for panel and just make the movie. You wouldn't need to make any changes to it.
Yep.
And that goes into what you're saying, the build and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I were to watch this on screen, I'd probably give it an A+. But reading it, it's it wasn't bad. They had me, but I'm just can somebody just punch somebody in the face?
I think he did in the bar scene.
In the bar scene, he did.
Yep.
And just a couple more here and there would have been nice. But no, it still is really good. Like you said, I love seeing it from the ethereal perspective and stuff. You get lots of different perspectives. Yes, you are from an ethereal, but you're also kind of getting first person from Superman in some points as well.
Yep.
It's very well done. I'm surprised. DC should they're having a hard time with their movies right now. Do this.
I don't know if I want to. Like,
fair enough. But I mean, you get the right director. I mean, you get.
Look what they've done with all the things that we loved about the Frank Miller Batman.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
Fair enough.
And Death of Superman.
Yeah.
Everything.
Okay,
they
just the DC Warner Brothers needs to make the animated movie of this.
That I don't think that would do it justice.
No, it wouldn't. But still, it's something. It
Yeah,
needs to be.
This is it. That's all I need.
It's perfect.
Don't touch it.
Yeah,
Don't
sure,
touch it because you'll ruin it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Well, thanks for sitting here and listening to us ramble on for however long this has gone. But hope you've enjoyed it and have learned something or have been piqued an interest into reading it. So to sum up, great book, great artwork, great story. Boots gives it an A+, which is high praise coming from him, and I give it an A, which is still really good. I'm not knocking this or anything. It's just my personal taste. That's all it is.
And that I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know, give an honest opinion.
Yeah. So, all right, join us for the next episode where this time I'm gonna be picking the book, and we'll let you know. I'll just tell you right now. It's gonna be Old Man Logan Volume 1.
Nice.
So figure DC. Let's give some Marvel some time. Just Volume 1 because they've done a couple others since then.
I think what I say,
Three or four.
Yeah.
So we'll get to those eventually, but the Old Man Logan that I know and love is Volume 1. So we both already read it, but we're going to read it again, and we will give our review on that next time. So thank you for joining us here on The Shelf. I've been Keith Patrick.
I've been Boots.
Yeah.